Hi everyone, it's Miss Rossi. Today we're going to create some monsters using shapes. What you will be needing today are your shape monster papers from your art folder. This should be a black piece of paper. We don't need the label, so you can get rid of that. But you should have a black piece of paper. That's going to be our background paper today, so I'm just going to leave that on the table. You should have some different colored square pieces of paper to use. I have the primary colors here. I have red, yellow, and blue. And you should have some different colored long rectangle pieces of paper. And these are going to be our monster's arms and legs. So I'm going to put those to the side for right now because I'm going to come back to them later. But I also have a pencil, a glue stick, a scissor, and I have some crayons to add some decorations and details. And I'm going to start with my black piece of paper and my pencil. So today we're going to create two different shape monsters using our larger square pieces of paper. Now we're going to end up gluing our shape monsters onto our background paper. So we're going to draw on that first to create a nice decorated background for our shapes to live on. I think I'm going to create an abstract background where I'm going to draw all different kinds of shapes all over my paper. If you want to draw a picture in your background to show where your shape monsters live, you can do that as well. So with my pencil to draw a bunch of different shapes in my background, I am just going to pick different areas and some of my favorite shapes. So I'm going to start by drawing a square. I am just going to place these all over. You can create a pattern if you would like, where you repeat your shapes over and over again. I think I just want mine scattered. So I had my square, which is our four-sided figure. I have my triangle, which has three sides. I'm going to draw a nice big circle up there. And those are my three favorite shapes. So I think I'm going to repeat those. Maybe I'll do a long skinny rectangle too. There we go. So I'm going to repeat these four shapes over and over again all around my paper to fill up this space. And these don't have to be perfect. We just want to try our best and practice drawing some different kinds of shapes. Maybe you have some other shapes that you like more. Maybe some of your shapes are stars and hearts. Maybe you like diamonds. We got to watch that video today that showed us all different kinds of shapes. So maybe you want to think back to our video and draw some of those. Or maybe you're drawing a scene in the background because you want to show where your monsters live or what they're doing. And you can use shapes to draw all those different kinds of things too. You can think maybe if you're drawing outer space and your monsters live in outer space, you have some big round circle planets or some ovals. It can really look however you would like. Maybe you want some big shapes and some little shapes. Maybe they're facing different directions. Some could be going diagonal. Maybe you want to make up your own shapes and you have big fluffy cloud-like shapes, or shapes that look like animals or leaves. And as we're drawing, we want to remember that this is going to be our background, so our monsters that we're going to be making are going to cover up some of our design. And when we place our monsters on our paper, you can decide where you think they will fit best so they don't cover up your favorite parts. Now that I'm done drawing all different kinds of shapes throughout my background, I'm going to pick some crayons to trace over them so that they'll be easier to see. I think I'm going to use this light yellow. I don't have a white crayon, but that would work really great since we are using black paper. I think using something brighter and lighter, like white, yellow, gray, silver, those would work really, really well and pop off of our black paper because they are so different. And with my crayon, I'm just going and tracing over my design. So I'm tracing over all of these shapes that I drew so they are going to be easier to see. If you drew a scene and you'd like to color it in, you can do that as well. I think I'm going to leave my shapes just as outlines, but if you want to color in some of your background, go right ahead. All right, there we go. I'm going to put my crayons to the side for right now, and I'm going to grab my colored construction paper squares. I'm going to pick what colors I would like to use to make my two shape monsters. I think I'm going to use red and blue today to make my shape monsters, so I'm going to put that extra yellow paper to the side. And with my pencil, I think I'm going to start with my red paper. I am going to think about my favorite shape in my head. So maybe you want to do one of the shapes you drew already in your background. Maybe you want to pick a new shape. I think on my red paper, I am going to do a big triangle. So right in the center with my pencil, I'm just drawing a nice big triangle. Now this triangle is going to be my shape monster's body. So I'm going to add a nice little face. I'm going to draw two big eyes using some ovals. I think I'm going to give my shape monster some eyebrows using two curved lines. I'm going to give him a nose. And you can decide what you would like your shape monster's expression to be. Should they be happy? Are they sad? Are they angry? Are they excited? What kind of mouth do you think would match how they're feeling? I want mine to look like it's shocked and surprised. So I'm going to draw a big oval mouth, like he's almost like, oh no! I like the way that that looks. I'm going to grab my crayons back and pick colors to trace over my shape monster. I think I'm going to use some dark purple, and I'm just going to trace over his body. So that big triangle that I already drew, just so it's a little easier to see for when I cut it out, I am going to trace over the face. If you want to add any other details to your monster, maybe your monster has scales, or maybe it's wearing a bow tie or a hat, you can decorate your monster however you would like. I'm going to put my blue paper to the side, and I'll do that one next, but I'm going to grab my scissors and just finish off this monster first. I'm cutting very carefully along the lines that I drew, turning my paper in my non-scissor hand, my helping hand, as my scissor hand stays in the same place, just opening and closing my scissor, making sure my fingers are far away from the scissor before I close it, and I am pulling that paper with this hand closer to make it easier to cut so I have more control. I'm going to put my scraps to the side, and now I have my monster already. Now, he kind of needs some other body parts. So I have these other papers here to add some arms and legs. I think I'm going to give my shape monster some yellow arms and legs, and I am going to do that by taking my big strip of yellow paper, folding it in half, so lining up that one side and pinching the other, and giving it a snip on the folded edge. So now my yellow paper is in two smaller pieces. I'm also going to cut my smaller pieces in half. So again, I'm folding that yellow paper so the edges line up, and then pinching it with my fingers and taking my scissor, going in that crease there and snipping it. So now I have two papers I can use as legs. If you want to give your shape monster some arms, you can also cut this piece in half and add some arms. I think I just want mine to have legs for right now. Maybe I'll add arms later. I want my shape monster's legs to be more exciting than just straight plain old legs. So I think I'm going to fold my paper. If you think back to when we made our line sculptures at the beginning of the year, we practiced folding our paper into all different kinds of lines. Maybe you want your monster to have curly legs and you want to wrap your paper around your pencil like a spiral. Maybe you want your monster to have wavy legs and you can glue it down so it's bumpy and wavy. I think I want mine to have zigzag legs that are kind of pointy, so I'm going to fold my paper starting at one corner towards the center in one direction. Then I'm going to turn it and fold it back in the opposite direction, and again bending it the other way, and then back again opposite. And when I open it up, I get a nice little zigzag leg I can add to my monster. I'm going to do the same thing on my other paper so my legs match. I'm going to fold that paper in, crease it, fold it out, crease it, back in, and back out. And if you make a mistake, you can always open it back up and fold it again. I want to glue my legs onto the back of my monster. So I'm going to flip them over and add a little bit of glue along the bottom. And then I can press one of the flat sides of my legs, kind of like the feet we used in our line sculpture, and carefully press that into the glue. And I can do the same thing with my other leg. And there is my first shape monster. If you want to add any decorations or details on the legs, you can do that and make your shape monster totally your own. I think I'm going to leave mine the way that it is right now and grab my blue paper to make another one. Now I'm going to pick a different shape for my shape monster's body. So in this one I used a triangle, a three-sided shape. For my blue paper, I think I am going to do a big circle. So with my pencil, I'm just going to draw a nice big circle at the center of my page. Circles are kind of tricky to draw perfectly. If you have any round objects at home that are nice and big, you can trace that instead of trying to draw it on your own to make it a little easier. I am going to add some square eyes on my circle, just so it's a little different than my other one, where I did ovals. I'm going to give them a big square nose and a nice big smile by just doing a straight line going across and a curved line coming back down and up at the ends. I can draw an extra line in there for some teeth, and then I'm just going to grab a light colored crayon since my blue paper is a little dark. I'm going to use that yellow crayon that I used in the background. I'm tracing right over my pencil lines. Again, you can add any decorations to your monster. If you want any bows, maybe you want your monster wearing sunglasses or some other details. There we go. I'm gonna give him a mouth. And that is my circle shape monster. With my scissor, I'm just going to cut this one out just like I did with my triangle monster. And now I'm going to make some legs for my circle monster. I think I'm going to use the rest of my yellow paper to make legs. So I'm going to cut this paper in half by folding it so the ends line up, pinching one side, slipping my scissor in there and snipping it. And I want my circle monster to have those same kind of zigzag legs. So I'm going to fold my paper back and forth again to create that zigzag line. So I'm going over and under and pinching to fold. I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. I can glue these legs on the back of my circle monster by just putting some glue along the bottom and sticking one of those flat lines down. And there is my circle monster. Now I'm going to put these together, and I think I am going to give them some arms. I think I'm going to give my triangle monster some blue arms, and I'm going to give my circle monster some red arms. So just like I did before, I'm going to fold my blue paper in half, pinch it, and snip on the folded side. I'm just going to use one of these to make my triangle's arms. Again, going to fold it in half, crease it, and snip it. I think I want my arms to have that same zigzag pattern as my legs, so I'm going to fold this again. And my circle monster and my triangle monster are going to be best friends, so they're going to be holding hands. But you can decide, maybe you want one of your monster's arms to look like they're in the air and they're hanging out at a party, or they're riding a roller coaster. It's up to you how you want to create and decorate your monsters. Just like I did with the legs, on the back, I'm going to add a little bit of glue, this time on both sides. And I'm going to press my arms down on that glue. Now I'm going to give my circle monster some red arms, again folding my paper in half, creasing it, snipping that folded edge, folding one of those halves in half, creasing it, and snipping that edge. And just like before, I'm going to fold over and under again for some fun zigzag legs and arms, flipping my circle monster over, adding some glue right along the sides on his back, and pressing those arms on. Now I can decide where I want my monsters on my paper. Maybe I want some of them up towards the top and one down at the bottom, and they can be reaching for each other. They can both be in the center, and they can be holding hands, or you can really place them wherever you'd like. I'm going to start with my triangle monster, and I'm just going to add some glue along the back with my glue stick. I'm not adding glue to my arms and my legs on the back because I want those to be able to float and move around a little bit and not be fully flat against my paper. I'm going to glue my triangle monster right there. I'm going to give him a nice massage so I know that he's going to stick on my paper. And I love the way that the arms and legs can still lift up off of my page. I'm going to put some glue on my circle monster. Same thing, making sure I'm not putting glue on the legs. And I think I'm going to place this one up here, and then they might be close enough to hold hands. And to have them hold hands, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the top of one and then press both of them together. There we go. I'm going to put the cap on my glue stick so it doesn't dry out. You can use your scraps however you would like. If you want to add more decorations, if you have more space to add more monsters, or you want to add extra details like hats, fire breath, bow ties, ears, you can do that as well. Once you're done with your project, you can take a photo or video of it and upload it on my Canvas page. I can't wait to see all the different shapes you guys have used and the funny faces you got to add to your monsters. Try your best, have fun, and get creative, and I'll see you soon. Bye!